Okay, now this is going to seem a little bit repetitious because number 2 is all about ownership and protection. We've talked about protection without non-disclosure and everything else, and we haven't talked about provisional patenting. And the reason why is we've kept that off as long as we can before we then go and raise capital. So, but when we go through the ownership side of it, we have to make sure that everything now can be owned. It can be protected and it can be owned. You need to look at all that. You need to do what we call a freedom to operate. It's a research of patents. You can go onto googlepatents.com and Google in what you've got, your idea, and try and use all the phrases and keywords that would describe it and see what comes back. And then be very objective with it. Print out these front pages of each of those to understand what they do. And don't try and just get it straight off the web. Pull it out and absorb it a little bit. And then later on, it really does pay, if you're objective about this, to put it all up on one wall. Glue them all up onto a wall, pin them, whatever you're going to do. So you can actually cross them off that they're not too close, or if they are, draw a string to one or to the other. Those two are the same, let's move those up together. They're a little bit different, but not that much. This provisional patent is now extended to global. You'll see it all as you go. And you can work out just how much of it is other data is protected and see whether or not your element is unique enough to be protected later on. And that's going to be important for if you're licensing, for instance, you do need a patent. And certainly when you're leveraging to get a vendor, sorry, to get a investor in there, we're going to need to show them some sort of protection. We can do that with secrecy and a lot of other things. Many projects, good products, don't actually get patented because patent is a part of patenting is disclosure. And certainly in the drug business, everybody wants to, or in pharmacology, they tend to want to get in there and play with it. So people string it out as long as they can. So don't be afraid of that, but just make sure that there is a paper trail, that nothing is being disclosed without a paper trail. Okay, so now you've got ownership and protection. So we've talked about how to own it and how to protect it, and we still haven't got a patent. So we're ready to go with a patent now. One of the things we do look at here is the scanning the environment. So you'll need a list on this. What we talk about is what sort of things outside of your scope of control can impact on you. So we look at political things. There might be a political environment issue that's going to hit you, like for instance, what you've got doesn't biodegrade. So what are you going to do with it? There might be legal issues. Somebody might say, well, you can't do that because I'm going to hit you with a litigation if you do. There might be a government agency might say, well, you need to get approvals before someone can swallow that. So therefore, there's FDA, TGA approvals that you need. Then that's a process. So you've got to get all that lined up. You've got to identify what it is. You don't have to get it done, but you have to identify what all those are when you scan the environment and write it all up. We've got an environmental scan sheet that you can download. Get in contact with me, you can download it as well. Now, once you've got that, political, legal, regulatory, social and societal, how well will people accept it? You might say, well, millennials will love this, but boomers won't like it. Well, that's okay. You've got enough of the market for millennials if they pay for it, then, or boomers if they pay for it. You need to work out what your market is. It's not everybody. Don't try to be everyone. Narrow it down. Make sure there's enough in there that they'll all want it and there'll be enough volume for you. So social and societal, then we look at economic. So make sure that nothing can, your supply agreements, they won't jack the price up, or you're not subject to gold fluctuations or any other precious metals, etc. Then once we've done economic, we do competitive. Who are your competitors going to be? Are they major corporations, or are they the same size as what you anticipate being? If they're major corporations, they might just attack you, patent and try and squash you, and that happens a lot, more than you'd care to believe. So there might be that. So we've got a legal, regulatory, economic and competitive, and then technological. The last one is technology. We're looking at why people use technology. How can they, sometimes it's simple that they just won't do it. Classic example is the Americans having the press pen for the space shuttle because they wouldn't be able to force the ink using gravity when they write, when they're in a situation, environment where there's no gravity. Well, the Russians just went up with pencils, did the same thing. So save themselves a few $1 million, no doubt, but we have got biros as a result. So do the environmental scan, do your protection. You've now got a due diligence file, so you've got all your protection and your ownership paperwork in there, and you've now got the scan, and you've added to that from phase 1, which had in there the 4x4 matrix, which is a 16 box matrix we talked about, of having everything to do with your project in the ideation, and we've looked at all the environment, all the buyers and how they would work, and costing and pricing, etc. So all of that should now be in your due diligence file, and they're now ready to go into phase 3. So if you want these downloads, or you want to talk to me, or you want to look backwards at some of the other ones we've done, get on to us at 100dayschallenge.com, or if you want to, you can go into the LinkedIn page and go to our Facebook group called, our LinkedIn group called Kickstarting Inventions. That's Kick-Starting Inventions, and you can actually participate in there if you like. Okay, we'll see you for number 3.